Yeah, about that. It's true. I am a Hulk. And I'm guessing you're not going to be able to focus on this fun lawyer show until you know all about that, so let me get you up to speed.
Fourth walls and regular walls will be smashed. Cases will be tried and fan theories will be denied. Marvel's She-Hulk Attorney at Law Episode 1 is here, and Jennifer Walters is bringing some refreshing gamma energy to the MCU. We are going to break it all down for you today, along with all the green Easter eggs we could find. But first, I must warn you, you are watching Canon Fodder, where every little morsel gets broken down in the context of its greater universe, spoiling it all in the process. This episode is no exception, and if you aren't ready to have the first episode of She-Hulk spoiled, I suggest you hop in your Jeep and zoom on out of here. Okay, now that we're past the spoiler warning, let's get right to it. Jennifer Walters, attorney at law, transitions into her Hulk self in this premiere episode with a different origin than shown in her comics. We also check in with Bruce Banner as he moves in and out of his Hulk identity, and we finally find out what he was doing in the time he was off camera between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame.
All buzz, no buzz.
Plus, very important question, is Steve Rogers a virgin?
Obviously, Captain America was a virgin.
I didn't ask that, it was Jen.
You asked me, so I answered.
Okay, I know that's a lot to lay on you all at once, so let's recap the episode and show how we wound up here while you ponder America's ass just a little bit more in the background. Don't pretend you're not. We're all doing it. Jennifer Walters, played by Tatiana Maslany, is a talented young deputy district attorney in LA, but she turns directly to camera and tells us how she became a Hulk. She does this quite a bit. Deadpool is very annoyed. A few months earlier, while on a drive with her cousin, Bruce Banner, reprised by Mark Ruffalo, they get startled off the road by a spacecraft, specifically a Sakaar Class A courier craft, and they tumble off the road. Jennifer's arm gets split open, and while helping Bruce out of the rubble, his gamma-radiated blood goes into her open arm, and wouldn't you know it, she is immediately greenified and fortified with hulkiness. That's how it happens, not via actual blood transfusion like in her comic origin. It's a gross blood drip into wound situation. Anyway, she hulks out, runs from Bruce, and finds herself bedraggled and alone. She goes to a dive bar where some women immediately help clean her up, and then some.
Can I borrow somebody's phone?
Then some creeps harass her, which reawakens the Hulk rage. I get it. We all get it. Jennifer again wakes up in a strange place, this time Bruce's Mexican beach home, and she discovers him working in an underground high-tech laboratory. Bruce reveals this is where he merged his warring identities during the blip, but more pressing matters at hand, he's going to help Jen transition to her new life as a Hulk hero. Jen is very opposed to this and wants to continue her promising law career, and after many mishaps we see Jen does not have two warring personas within. She's still Jen, even though she needs help controlling when she shifts. She's having a much smoother transition than Bruce had, and one or two smashed beach cabanas later, she leaves on her way back to LA, but Bruce says the door's always open and he'll always help her. Back in present time LA, Jen's delivering closing arguments at a trial when, boom, Jamila Jamil's Titania Kool-Aid Man's into the courtroom dressed like Randy Macho Man Savage. Oh yeah! That's both their catchphrases! Jen transitions to her Hulk form, protecting everyone in the courtroom while knocking out Titania. She shows a shockingly great amount of control in her transition and calmly goes back to her statement.
I'm ready to give my closing argument now.
There are fun courtroom sketch-style drawings over the credits which show Jen presenting Bruce her theory that Captain America Steve Rogers is in fact a virgin. This segues into an after-credits scene at Bruce's Mexican beach bar in which a drunk Jen laments that Cap never got to experience the joy of sex after doing so much for his country. Bruce replies Steve Rogers is not a virgin. He lost his virginity to a girl in 1943 on the USO tour. Jen excitedly says she knew it, and Bruce says, wait, you're not drunk? Now how's that for a Marvel after credits scene, Marvel's TV series and Phase 4 in general have all explored different genres. Sitcom, buddy spy, psychological, thriller, horror, teen drama, rom-com, Christmas, but She-Hulk has its own thing going on.
Lawyer show.
I don't think this will be strictly a lawyer show. There will be certainly a lot of blunt Hulk action, and it's more than a little Fleabag comedy-esque with Jen's turns to the camera with sly soliloquy observations that no one except maybe Bruce notices. Though we do have the promise of Marvel's second best attorney Matt Murdock showing up at some point, and it would be a shame if all we saw was his street-level violent justice without his best lawyering justice, preferably opposite Jen in the courtroom. And yes, calling him the second best attorney was purposeful because Jen has beaten him in court in comic canon. Could Daredevil be coming to clean the streets of LA, or will She-Hulk make her way to Hell's Kitchen? Time will tell, but I can't wait to see how they interact.
For the record, I really didn't want to do this.
And now some glowing green Easter eggs. Don't think about it, just smash them into your veins.
Basically, I was right and Bruce was wrong, and I never have to be a Hulk.
Jen notably breaks the fourth wall, which I joked about earlier, but this actually is an idea that goes back to She-Hulk comics. Check out the John Byrne run for some great uses of this lighthearted narrative choice. Jen and Bruce are startled by a Sakaaran Class A courier craft. Could it be Hulk has unfinished business on Sakaar? Could the Grand Master still be around? Bruce introduces his merged persona as Smart Hulk, which is the first time this nickname has ever been used on screen. Fans like using this term, but Marvel never has, calling him the other guy, the big guy, or Dr. Banner, avoiding Hulk and really avoiding Smart Hulk. He says he didn't give himself the name after Jen calls him Smug Hulk.
It's a good time during a hard time.
Banner reveals that in the 5-year time period between Infinity War and Endgame, he merged his two personas in his beach house lab, and that Tony built it for him. Bruce fondly remembers Tony several times in the episode, and it's clear he misses his friend. There's even a damaged Iron Man helmet in Banner's island getaway. Science Bros forever. Inside Out, the Pixar movie similarly under the Disney umbrella with Marvel, is brought up as something that would create an emotional response in both Jen and Bruce, with Bing Bong in particular named. Funnily enough, when Bruce tries to move away from this topic, he tells Jen to focus on anger and fear, which are also Inside Out characters played by Louis Black and Bill Hader.
You're still Jen? Right now?
Yeah? And I'm conscious.
This is incredible. You don't have an alter ego.
Bruce gives insight into his struggles against the Hulk several times, saying at the discovery of Jen's lack of alter ego, quote, "You don't have another guy to wrestle with for 10 years. He also mentions when he used to need calming back into Banner, quote,
Or Natasha for a little while would tell me a lullaby.
Walk me through how that worked again.
She actually did do that around the Age of Ultron era. Bruce uses dialectical behavioral therapy to help master control over Hulk rage. This is a real form of psychotherapy that is sometimes used to treat personality disorders and mood disorders. Hulk become mindful? Jennifer's diplomas and various office decorations indicate that she went to UCLA. This stipulates she is cool because, fun fact, very cool people go there. Jen does the Hulk Thunderclap, one of Hulk's trademark moves, pretty well, almost right away in this episode. What's wild is the Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo, has never been seen doing this move before this show. The one time it has been in a movie was 2008's Incredible Hulk, which has us wondering why they've not shown this signature comics technique before, and why not Hulk himself first? Because it's too OP is the only theory I've got. Jen has a theory Cap is a virgin with a visual featuring a picture of Peggy Carter and two mystery women in the closing credits. One appears to be a Star-Spangled Singer from Cap 1, and one is a faceless blonde woman with short blonde hair. She could be Private Lorraine, played by Natalie Dormer. I'm not totally sure, but I sincerely hope it's not Sharon Carter. Jen gets annoyed with Bruce quoting comics at her when he says,
Listen, I know you didn't ask for this, but whether you like it or not, you're now a superhero. And who's gonna protect the world if it isn't people like us?
Are you quoting a comic book right now?
this is not a direct comics quote that I could find, but
These are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into.
it sounds suspiciously like a little piece of wisdom Uncle Ben shared with Peter Parker before Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of Canon Fodder, and for more Marvel, check out the MCU's biggest loose ends. Remember to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch, and don't forget,
Captain America